What is going on, everybody? Oh, I got to get centered. Hold on. No, hold on. All right, we're good. This is the JT Sports Show. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, the NBA Finals. I have a bet of the day. Now, we are 3-3 now. We're on a little bit of a cold streak. 2 losses in a row after I picked the Twins last night. Idiotic of me. We'll talk about the Twins, why they're cold, maybe some positivity, and then the NHL playoffs. But without further ado, we are bringing on a special guest today because he's the older reliable. He would come on the Bold North Sports podcast. He has a wide range of sports knowledge. His name is Jackson Borsty. Borsty, how are you doing?
Doing great. Really happy to be on the new and improved JT Sports Show.
I love it. All right, so 2 days ago, Tim Connolly had his introduction press conference, and did you watch it?
I did.
Good. Okay.
A lot of good thoughts and comments from the new ownership group. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I think he's brilliant. I mean, just the way he talks, he's very humble. He knows what his job is. He knows he shouldn't just come in and blow the whole thing up. He realizes that this team's on the up and up. So do you think that what he has here is better than what he had in Denver, or do you think he just came for the money?
I think Denver is in a better spot right now. Obviously, they have the MVP of the league, and they're missing their second and third best players the entire season.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be probably a top 3 favorite in the West next year. That's a hell of a spot. But obviously the money and the ownership equity part of it is ginormous. And it's not like this is some horrible place to go to because we have a future superstar and a star, Edwards and Towns. I mean, I would come. I don't know, especially with the money aspect. But I think if it was like if it was Sacramento and they offered the money and like the ownership equity, I still don't think he would come. But since the team is, kind of on the rise with potential superstar in Anthony Edwards, I think that it was a little bit of both, but I think he made the right decision.
I agree. The one thing I was confused about is why none of the reporters asked him about Anthony Edwards, because I feel like that's the most important thing
I know
with this team. Is
weird. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, huh.
They asked about Cat. One guy asked about Cat and D'Lo.
Yeah.
And obviously he's just going to say they're great players, and Cat's
got
a great work ethic.
Yeah.
I know. But they never asked about Anthony Edwards. I'm like, I want to hear what he has to think about Anthony Edwards. But I guess we'll just get right into it. So the Wolves have 4 extension-eligible players this summer, and that's Cat, D'Lo, Naz Reid, and Jalen Noel. How many of the 4 do you think they extend?
Cat, D'Lo, Naz Reid, and Noel. So you
said? Yep.
I don't really know, honestly. Cat for sure. I mean, that's one.
Yeah.
But the other 3, I kind of think that Jalen Noel might get the chopping block because he's a good player, but I just feel like he's gonna try to find a player like that or even a better player in the draft because he's very good at finding those diamond in the rough guys.
Yeah.
And unless they can get him for cheap, like Jalen Noel signed to a really cheap contract, but I have to think that they'll probably maybe cut ties with him and try to get someone else in the draft because that's what he's known for. But I could still see him signing. I just don't know. It's hard to know what the new regime is thinking. But I do think that I don't think D'Lo's going to be on the team. I don't know. We'll see.
I wouldn't be so. I think he's going to shop D'Lo. I think I would not get rid of D'Lo unless it's a good return. And I don't know what the return would be, just because, and I've talked about it on here before, the possibilities of what next offseason could bring if you just let him go after next season, I guess, and clear all that cap space. But I think there's a better chance they keep Jalen Noel over Naz Reid. I think, especially with Tim Connolly, Denver had a guy named Bones Highland, and I think Jalen Noel is very, very similar to him. Along with the fact that Naz, I'm not sure what his fit is on this team, because maybe he's like I don't see him being a backup starting center
I don't
in
either.
this league long term. Maybe like a big four, but my guess is in this draft or in the free agency market, they're going to go after another big guy, a starting center. And so I don't know if that squeezes Nas Reed out, but in my opinion, I would keep Jalen Noel. I would sign him to an extension. I think he's a very good player. He hasn't been utilized in the correct way yet. Nas, I'm not sure what his ceiling is based on his size. And I mean, he's very, very athletic and stuff like that, but not as a center in this league. He's not big enough and he's not good enough at rebounding. Do you think D'Angelo Russell, what I haven't really looked into trades per se. I guess I've read a few like articles about some possibilities.
Like the
Have you read? Yeah, I saw that Knicks one. What do you think you would expect back from another team in a D'Angelo Russell trade?
Honestly, maybe like a young like power forward.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I would think depth pieces. I would not think that it would be a star.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think it would maybe like young up and comer depth guys who can shoot the three and can defend. That's what I think that's what I would be looking for. But one has to think that that's kind of what they're thinking about too. But again, I don't know. But I don't think it'll be a star.
The only question I'd have is if you traded him, you'd have to sort of match salaries. So I don't know how that'd work with a young guy because those guys aren't making much money, or even like a pick. So I guess if that were to happen, the Wolves would probably have to still have to pay a lot of his contract off. Yeah. Otherwise, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
unless you
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Like I don't know what the other 29 teams in the NBA think of him. I don't even know what our team thinks of him. I don't even know what Tim Connolly thinks of him.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It'll be close, but I'm sure that there's a desperate team out there, that it's just going to be like,
oh, you went muted. I knew what you were going to say. There's a desperate team out there that would be willing to take on D'Angelo Russell. Maybe a win now team. Or a team that's just looking for a contract that they can dump next year. But I think the Wolves could do the same thing. Just pretend like you're the team doing that.
Yeah.
And you dump him next season because then you fill up a lot of clear a lot of cap space up. So I think Cat gets extended. I'm not sure what they do with D'Lo. I'm on the edge of saying Nas Reed should be traded. And I think Jalen Noel should be extended for a cheap contract, maybe similar to what Vanderbilt and McLaughlin got last summer. I think that'd be brilliant of the new front office. So that's the Wolves. Tonight is the first game of the NBA Finals. It's the Warriors and the Celtics. Initially, I think it's Warriors in 7. I think it's going to be an extremely good series. What are your thoughts?
I got the Warriors.
How many games?
At first, I said 5. I think 6. Warriors in 6.
Okay. I don't know if the Warriors have faced a defense like this or even an offense thus far in the playoffs. And sure, they've sort of rolled through all of their series, but I just can't help it.
I'll say this. The Celtics also haven't faced a defense like this. The Warriors have a great defense. I think Draymond Green is going to lock down Jaylen Brown, and I think Wiggins is going to do a good job containing Tatum.
Well, all of that you just said fits right into my bet of the day, and that is the under tonight in Game 1. It's 213.5. I just feel like maybe there'll be a little bit nerves on the Celtics side. I don't think that's an issue for the Warriors because they've been here so much, but maybe they are a little caught off guard with the Celtics defense and they got to get some getting used to. Maybe the other side, maybe that's true for the other side too. So I think 213 is too much. I could see that as final score being like, I don't know, 105-96, something like that. And that hit by a mile. So that is my bet of the day. I'm interested in seeing the defensive matchups. I think Marcus Smart will be on Steph Curry.
Yep.
And then between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, whoever takes Klay Thompson, the other will take Andrew Wiggins. If Wiggins has a big series, the Warriors will no doubt win the series, and probably pretty handily, because he has been such an X factor for them.
He's been so good.
Yeah, better than I thought he could ever be. But it's a different role, and people are talking about the trade that was.
That's the thing. Yeah.
The trade. Okay, we can get into this now because we said we'd talk about it.
Disclaimer: we texted about this like last week, and we had like a debate. The reason that this trade gets put over the top is because of the pick, and the pick that became Jonathan Kuminga, who looks like he's going to be a heck of a player. So that's why, in my opinion, the Warriors won the trade by, pretty handily. Let's be honest. But that being said, Wiggins is also the third option, fourth, whatever. He's third or fourth option.
Yeah,
and that wouldn't be the case on the Timberwolves.
I said I'd still make the trade because at the time the ceiling of D'Lo was so much higher than Wiggins. Wiggins was not going anywhere here. He needed a fresh start. And the Wolves had to get rid of him and bring some new life into the building, and D'Lo brought that. Like if the Wolves had Wiggins right now and Cat and Anthony Edwards, I'm not sure they're as good as they are. I don't think they are because Wiggins just doesn't fit the mold of this team.
He just needed to get out of here.
I don't think Wiggins and Anthony Edwards would mesh. Yeah. So even if we had to give up that pick, I think it was better for the long-term success. I really do.
Yeah, it's just that top 5 overall pick hurt. Because Kuminga looks like he's going to be really, really good.
I'm not as high on Kuminga as other people are.
Okay, well, I'd gladly take him on our team.
I would too, but I'd rather have the last 2 years of D'Lo than having to suffer watching Andrew Wiggins look like he couldn't give a crap.
No. But what I'm saying is we would have traded Wiggins to the Warriors or somewhere else, and we still would have had that pick. Is what I'm saying.
I think you had to attach a pick to get rid of him. You just had to do it. Yeah, you had no other team. You could barely even trade him with a pick. His contract was a top 4 worst contract in the NBA at that point. And D'Lo at the time wasn't really.
Where do we see Wiggins next year? Or no, do you think he's going to sign another contract with the Warriors? Do you think they're going to trade him?
Well, if they win the title, I don't think you can get rid of him because he seems to be playing a huge factor defensively and chipping in offensively.
Yeah, but they got Poole and Kuminga, though.
Yeah, I know. Is he extension eligible? I don't even know.
He's got one more year left on his deal. I think it's like D'Lo.
All right, so my guess would be they just ride it out with him and then see what happens. And if the difference between the Wolves and the Warriors, if you have a player and you just let him ride it out, even into free agency, there's still a good chance he'd want to come back because you're the Golden State Warriors. So I think
it's just going to be like a money thing, maybe.
Yeah.
But, maybe he doesn't even care about that anymore. I don't know.
Maybe he realizes that winning is more important, something he didn't realize when he was here.
And Andrew Wiggins' Hall of Fame case, it may sound crazy. But he wins a title this year. He's the number 1 overall pick. He's got a Rookie of the Year. He was an All-Star this year. Who knows? If he gets to 20,000 points, too, he's at 11.5 right now. I don't know. It could happen. Plus, maybe over the next couple of years, maybe he makes an all-defense team or something like that.
No, he hasn't done enough.
Crazy. It's not as crazy and far-fetched as people think. That's all I'm going to say.
I think it is pretty crazy. If he wins 3 more titles, he can be in the Hall of Fame because he's still the number 4 guy on that team. He's the 4th best player on that team.
Okay, but if he gets the points, he's been an all-star. Maybe he makes an all-defensive team. Like I said, who knows? Who knows what could happen here?
Yeah, I'm not about it. Let's switch to the Twins talk. They've been ice cold lately. They're battling injuries, COVID stuff. Correa's on the COVID. Joe Ryan's COVID. Gilberto Celestino is COVID. Yeah, and then they also have been battling injuries with Kepler and Sonny Gray.
And the Blue Jays are going to be missing 3 more players because they're not vaccinated. Stupid rule from Canada.
Yeah, I know. So give me some positivity about this team because right now I'm the reason I'm so down on this right now is because the Twins have had like the third easiest schedule in all of the MLB this year. So I mean, sure, they have a great record, but their pitching is at some point, I just feel like going to blow up in their face.
And it will, I think.
And their hitting is, I'm not really worried about their hitting, but if Buxton can't somehow turn this around because he's been awful, he's got to figure it out. Correa is good. He's been great. Sanchez has been great. Gio Urshela has been great. Arise has been great. So they have hitters in their lineup that have been good, and even Kepler's been good when he's been on the field. But when Buxton is going, this offense is one of the best in the league. Then if their pitching can just be average, then they can be a solid team. But I'm worried about that.
Yeah. Well, here's some positivity. One, obviously, Buck is going to get going. He's one of the best players in the entire major leagues. Slumps happen. Yes, this has been a long slump, but he's going to get out of it. I mean, come on. Let's not be ridiculous. Two, I mean, the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals are pesky. When you play a team week after week after week after week, which it seems like it's just been those two rotating. Yeah, you're not going to win every single game. I mean, they've played them so much. And, I mean, number three, injuries and COVID have kind of like messed this team up this week. So that lineup yesterday was brutal. Like,
no, it was better than the lineup the day before because they did have Polanco back, and I like Urshela and
I think
Sanchez.
It was maybe Monday. I think it was Monday, and it was literally just a throwaway game.
Yeah.
That was such a bad lineup. It's like you can't expect to win when that's right. So fans just need to relax. I mean, this is a good team. It's a really good team on the field and in the bats. But I am not worried at all. I think once they get healthy, COVID, all that garbage, I think they're going to be rolling. And I'm looking forward to us finally playing some other teams other than the AL Central.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them play the Blue Jays and then the Yankees at home. Yeah. My biggest concern, like I said, is just that they've played a cupcake schedule. And so at some point you're going to, like, they played the Astros, the best team they played, and they got swept.
Yeah, but but again, that was kind of unlucky. They had injuries and COVID there too. I'm just saying.
I don't know if they did.
They did. It was not a good lineup that week. I remember.
All right. I'll believe you. But this next week to 2 weeks will tell us a lot because they do play some good teams.
Yeah.
And so
they just got to get healthy. I mean, it doesn't help that Carlos Correa is out again for 10 days. Royce Lewis is out.
Forgot to mention him. Did I mention Sonny Gray too?
Yeah, Sonny Gray. Well, I mean, I'm not as concerned about Sonny, but yeah. I'm actually not really concerned with anyone. It's just like they're just annoying that they're out for 10 days.
It's just all happening at once, so it looks bad.
But
these are the games you have to win.
The good news. Have to be optimistic though too, because that was a horrible stretch from Buxton, and it's not going to last forever. That's kind of what I'm saying here. Like he had an awesome month of April, and a good first week of May, and then just the rest of May he was bad. I mean, so let's not act like the world's ending here with slumps.
I will say the good news is the Twins have lost 4 out of 6 or something, and yet they still have they're still 5 games above the White Sox and the Indians
because the White Sox keep losing too.
I think going into this stretch they were 5 games ahead, and they're still 5 games ahead because those teams stink. But,
so that's why I'm saying we don't need to freak out all the time at us having a bad lineup because of COVID. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, they.
I mean, why are they even testing? Is my question though. I mean,
they don't test unless you have symptoms.
All right.
That's the only way they test, and I know that for a fact because I heard Rocco say that. You don't just test every day anymore. So.
But yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. But before we go, I know you are a hockey fan, and I know people have been asking me to talk about hockey more. So give me some thoughts on the 2 series going on. I saw the first game of the Avs Oilers was like 90-92, and the Avs won. And then last night, the Rangers beat the Lightning, which is a bit surprising. I could be wrong. You tell me, what are your thoughts on the 2 series?
Well, look, the Avalanche and the Lightning are both so much better than their opponents. I mean, it's like actually not close in my opinion. But the Rangers series could get interesting because Igor Shesterkin is playing really, really well. He's finally found his groove. And I don't know, run into a hot goaltender, who knows what can happen.
Yeah.
So I see that series being maybe 6 games. I still think the Lightning are going to end up winning. I mean, it's just inevitable. They're going to figure it out. They're going to win. Vasilevsky is not going to play the way he did last night. Best goaltender in the world. And the Avalanche, look, I mean, yeah, it was 8-6, but I just don't see the Oilers. I just don't see it. I think 4 or 5. I can maybe see McDavid stealing a game in Edmonton. But I seriously think the Avalanche are rolling. The injury to Kemper does hurt, but Francois is a solid backup. I don't know. I think we're looking at a Avalanche Lightning final, which would be fantastic. But just keep an eye on the Rangers series, I will say, because it could maybe get interesting. But yeah, I think the Avalanche are buzzing, and I think that they're going to handle it pretty handily, I think. So
that's interesting. Who's the is the Oilers goalie Mike Smith?
yeah.
Is he like 40 years old?
Like, do you really think that Mike Smith is going to win you 4 games against the Avalanche? Do you really think that?
No.
Like, it's bizarre.
I remember watching him when I was like 8 years old when I went to a Coyotes game.
Yeah.
But
I'm hoping for Avalanche Lightning just because that would be an awesome series. I think it would go 7. Obviously, I would hope the Avalanche win because I'm tired of the Lightning, but they're such a great team. You got to respect it. But another thing I'll say is that the NHL playoff format, we've talked about this many times, is just really, really bad. And it's kind of a disservice to a lot of the teams in the NHL who, like, with their first round matchups. For example, the Wild and the Blues. The Wild would have played the Stars or the Oilers in the first round. And they would have beaten both of those teams. And then they would have played the Avalanche, and who knows what would have happened there. So
they would have gotten beaten by them. They're just too quick.
I know, but you just never know with momentum how things work. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's good hockey talk. I'll be back. I think we talked about everything. We talked about the Wolves, the NBA Finals. I mentioned my bet of the day, under 213.5 in the Celtics Warriors game. The Twins. You are optimistic. I will say skeptical based on their easy schedule.
Look, I'm skeptical about the pitching too. I mean, come playoff time, it's a long season. I have no idea if this is going to hold up. I think the offense will, to be honest with you, but you can't rely on your offense in the playoffs. We talked about that. So yeah, I do fear for the pitching in the playoffs, but I don't know. But my bet of the day, I want to do a bet of the day, and it's the Twins at 12-10, which are going to start in what?
40 minutes?
40 minutes. Yeah, I think the Twins are going to win today.
I think so too. I thought they would win last night, but I was wrong about that. You mentioned, just real quick, and you just mentioned that you can't rely on hitting. I think but you have to hit in the playoffs. The Twins in the last whatever games in the playoffs against the Astros, and then in that Yankee series, I think the most runs they scored in a game was like 4. Mm-hmm. So people bag on the pitching in the playoffs, but their hitting has been atrocious. So you obviously have to, like, if you want to win a game, the Twins have to get their monkey off the back. If they could just go score like 10 runs in a game, that's how they'll do it. In my opinion. You can't you can't just rely on the pitching to be good. You freaking have to hit the ball.
It's both, but I mean, you'd rather rely on the pitching.
Yeah.
Because you'll hit, like, the bats will come eventually. The pitching, we've all seen what happens every year in the playoffs with the Twins. It's awful.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But, I mean, let's just hope that Joe Ryan and Sonny Gray can deliver for us. But again,
and honestly, I'm more confident in those two right now than I was in Barrios and Dominic and Jake Odorizzi in 2019. I think these two could be good. I love Sonny Gray. I think he might be the Twins' best pitcher. I think he's very, very good.
He's good.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on to today's episode. Everybody check out these hats. Go DM me on Instagram or Twitter on anything, and you can get them. They will be delivering very soon. We are almost done with all of them, so that's good news. We'll be back probably maybe this weekend. Otherwise, for sure, Monday. I love doing Monday episodes because then you can cover everything that came on the weekend. We appreciate everybody listening. What are we going to go out with today? What music? What's your favorite music? Feeding the Ducks? No, rock. You like the rock. No, we're going rock.
Yeah, rock. Yep.
All right.
The one.
Go follow us on all social media platforms and like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. Everybody have a good